we start in the NFC South in this segment with the Buccaneers. John Breach, you already had one team signing Ryan Jensen, so I assume you're just going to have the Bucs re-sign him as well, right?
I'm having Ryan Jensen go to every team, Brinson. No, you know what? With the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you would think that, hey, Tom Brady just retired, so the first move they should make is go out and get a quarterback. Well, you know what? I am not a logical thinker all the time. I am playing 4D chess here. I'm not getting the quarterback first. I think the first thing the Buccaneers should do is sign Chris Godwin to an extension. Because if you look at this offense, they have a lot of holes to fill this offseason. It's not just Tom Brady retiring. We have Leonard Fournette's a free agent. Rob Gronkowski's likely gone. Chris Godwin obviously going to be a free agent. Ryan Jensen going to be a free agent. They have a lot of holes to fill, and if they lose Chris Godwin, Mike Evans is really the only guy left on that offense. You bring in a guy like Teddy Bridgewater, Jimmy Garoppolo, and they only have Mike Evans to throw to. That offense probably isn't doing much. So I think one thing I'm doing is getting Chris Godwin under contract that opens you up to use the franchise tag somewhere else, and then once I have my offensive guys in place, I go find my quarterback.
I dig it. And, you got to be able to get Carlton Davis, those guys in as well. And Godwin with that ACL, probably willing to do it. Wide receivers, star wide receivers are a commodity. And the Falcons also have a star wide receiver in Calvin Ridley. Ridley stepped away from the team for mental health reasons midway through last year. We don't know anything about his personal situation, and him getting in the right mental state is the most important thing. I sort of wonder, though, if a change of scenery might be beneficial for Ridley. And so if that's the case, and you're the Atlanta Falcons, and you feel like as good as Ridley is, it's not going to work out in Atlanta. You are sort of trying to reboot with this new coaching staff. Maybe you can get some primo picks for him because he's shown that he could be an alpha receiver in the NFL when he plays an entire season. I think you could look at potentially trading, Calvin Ridley this offseason.
Yeah, you know what, Brinson? I like that idea. I love the idea of trading Calvin Ridley because he is someone who, obviously sitting out part of, you can get some picks for him. But I'm going to one-up you and say they should trade Matt Ryan. Look, this feels like a team that is rebuilding. And if you're rebuilding, you want draft picks. And how do you get draft picks? You trade your starting quarterback. Ryan's getting up there in age. I do still think he's good enough to help a team that is on the cusp of winning a Super Bowl. I don't think that is the Falcons right now. So maybe I look for some takers for Matt Ryan and see if I can get some draft picks out of that.
I dig it, Breach. All right, Wilson, when you look at the Saints, what's the one thing they need to do this offseason besides get rid of $70 million in dead carry over the cap right now?
So I was looking at the rundown, and I actually wrote, resign Jameis, as in step down Jameis. I meant re-sign Jameis, bring Jameis back. You have to have Jameis. He had his best year, undoubtedly, before he suffered that ACL injury. I think it was on Halloween, so October 31st. Up until that point, he was playing really well in Sean Payton's offense, and that offense broke down once he went down. And I think what you do is you bring him back. Obviously, Sean Payton is going to take some time off, so he won't be the coach next year. Dennis Allen is going to step up, but Dennis Allen knows how that team runs. They still have the offensive line. As Breach noted, Teron Armstead will probably be able to name his price. They have Alvin Kamara still in the backfield. We'll see what happens with Mike Thomas. They could end up drafting a wide receiver if they bring back the quarterback. And the defense is really good. And by the way, you play in a division that no longer includes Tom Brady. So Taysom Hill isn't the answer. So I think you roll with Jameis Winston because you know how well he can do in this offense when everything is working around him. The unfortunate thing was the ACL injury, but I think he bounces back. We saw him moving around, looking pretty mobile just a few weeks ago, 3 months removed from surgery. So that is priority number one if you're the Saints. And then priority number two, as you mentioned, Brinson, is cutting away those salary cap dollars so you can make some moves in free agency.
Yeah, the Carolina Panthers actually, this is they have a lot of things they could do. Like you got to improve the offensive line, plenty of defensive players you could look into getting. I'm going to say they just need the one thing that they need to do is something they don't need to do, and that's you don't need to trade for another quarterback. You already made one big mistake by trading for Sam Darnold. You gave up a second-round pick for him, and it's going to be a good second-round pick. You can't go out there and mortgage your entire franchise to try to go get Deshaun Watson. You sure as heck don't need to be calling the Minnesota Vikings and asking about Kirk Cousins who has a $35 million guaranteed salary, $45 million cap charge, and can't be franchise tagged after the season. I understand that David Tepper is hot and bothered to get a quarterback, get the right quarterback in there. I know that Matt Rule is pressured to try and win, but gosh, Lee, you cannot throw good money after bad by trying to trade for another quarterback. In the AFC South,
do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.